Textiles are the general name given to items made from fabric. To make a fabric, fibres are spun into yarn, which is then weaved. Fibres are fine, hair-like structures which can be natural, regenerated, or synthetic. Natural fibres come from plants, animals, and minerals, and usually have short fibres called staple fibres. The exception is silk, a natural fibre whose continuous filaments are up to 1 kilometre in length. The most common natural fibres you'll have used in class are cotton from the cotton plant and wool from sheep or goat. Animal fibres include fur, hair, and skin. This is commonly used for warm clothing, typically jumpers, cardigans, and blankets. Plant textiles can be made into rope, floor mats, and hats, as well as clothing. The most commonly used is cotton. This can be used for making jeans. Denim is a form of cotton. T-shirts and towels, and has many good qualities. Other sources of natural fibres are linen from the flax plant and silk from the silkworm. Silk is made from the fibres of the cocoon of the Chinese silkworm, which is spun into a smooth fabric, prized for its softness.
Synthetic fibres are man-made and usually come from chemical sources. They are continuous filament fibres, which means the fibres are long and do not always have to be spun into yarn. The most common synthetic fibres you will have used in class are polyester, viscose, and elastomers. An elastomeric material has stretch. Viscose is what we call a regenerated fibre, made from natural polymer materials like cellulose. It is used for shirts, dresses, and linings, as it can be washed and ironed, has a good drape, and is soft to handle. Fibres can be combined by blending or mixing so you can get the best properties of each fibre. You can blend fibres or mix yarns. A blend is 2 or more different fibres that are combined to make one yarn, which is then woven or knitted to make a fabric. For example, combining cotton and polyester fibres. A mix is when a fabric is made up of 2 or more different types of yarn that are woven or knitted together to make the fabric. For example, elastane or lycra are commonly mixed with cotton. Mixing and blending fibres is useful as you get new properties to play with.
Methods of producing fabric fall into 3 main categories: weaving, knitting, and fusing. The different methods can be combined. Often a fabric can be woven or knitted and then go through a process that causes the fibres to fuse together to give the fabric extra strength and durability. Woven materials are made by interlocking 2 sets of yarns on a loom. Generally, the fabric doesn't stretch and is strong, flat, and smooth, and good for printing on. There are 2 ways of knitting: warp knitting and weft knitting. Knitted fabrics are made by interlocking 1 or more yarns together using loops. The loops trap air so the fabric insulates, and it is more stretchy than woven fabric, so is ideal for jumpers, socks, and tights. Fusing or bonding involves non-woven webs made of synthetic fibres, not yarns glued or melted together. These materials do not fray when cut, are not stretchy, and not very strong. They are used for interfacing, for example, thickness in shirt collars. Don't forget that fabrics come in rolls that are of standard width, so that you only need the length that you require. They also come in different weights, which are determined by how tightly the fabric is knitted or woven and the thickness of the yarn used.
Textiles often need to have a finish applied to improve the fabric's overall performance. This involves chemicals being applied to fibres or the fabric during manufacture to give the fabric certain properties. These properties may include flame retardance, water resistance, stain resistance, crease resistance, and shrink resistance. Flame retardant finishes are chemicals that make the fabric less likely to catch fire. Products they are used on include racing drivers' overalls, nightclothes, and settees. Water resistance comes from chemicals that stop water droplets passing through the fabric. The water forms as beads on the surface. Nylon is often given a water-resistant finish to make coats and tents. Think of your carpets and 3-piece suites at home and what you have probably spilt on them. These will have stain-resistant chemicals such as silicone, fluorine, or Teflon coating on them to stop grease and dirt penetrating the fabric. Now consider your favourite jeans or trousers. Applying crease-resistant chemicals or resins reduce the creases you get while wearing them, but they can make the fabrics feel slightly stiffer. You can apply shrink resistance to fabric, such as wool, which is prone to shrink when machine washed. The scales on wool fibres cause wool to shrink in the wash. These can be permanently removed with chlorine or by applying a coating to smooth the surface of the fibres. All of these finishes have been created to make sure that the textile item is aesthetically and visually appealing to the user as well as functional in its use.